Good morning. For the record, my name is Kriscinda Hansen. I'm the CFO at the Gambling Commission. I do have a brief presentation for the fiscal year 25 report.
Can you see it? I'm having technical difficulties.
No, it appears you're sharing your screen, but it's blank currently.
One moment.
Looks like our VPN bounced. Thank you.
You're welcome. Sorry about that.
No worries. So this is just a very brief presentation. So even though fiscal year 25 ended June 30, we have until roughly the first week in September to do all of our closing entries. So this is just a final overview of where we ended. So next slide, please. Thank you. So for our fiscal year 25, just an overview of what our revenue totaled. So our expected revenues are always, our licensing fees, QLRs, those types of things. That number came in at 14.73. That is roughly where it was projected for the year. Our tribal reimbursement for fiscal year 25 totaled 3.6 million. And then our other sources of revenue, which are unexpected, those are unexpected because they're fines, fees, settlement agreements, those types of things, were 893,000. So our fiscal year 25 revenue was 19.2 million. Next slide, please. So for our expenditures last year, our fully allotted expenditures were at 18.5 million. This does not include IT modernization expenditures because, again, we're managing those expenditures separately in their own discrete budget. Our actual expenditures for the fiscal year were 16.7 million for a total variance of 1.8. Most of that, almost half of that variance, a little over half of that variance was due to staffing. And in December, when we presented last year, December of 24, our staffing was at 104 or 105 staff, but at that time we chose to implement a voluntary hiring freeze because of the budgetary uncertainty that was occurring at that point in time. So we did see our staffing, our personnel costs variance increase because as people left the agency, retired, we were very selective about which positions we filled at that point in time. So and then some of our equipment variances because we either delayed replacing or found that we didn't need as many vehicles replaced because of our staffing vacancies at that point in time. So I think that's the end of my slides for this one. I apologize. Yes, so that's just a very brief wrap up of our revenue and expenditures for last year. So and I see that Senator Conway has a question.
I don't know if, thank you. I don't know if this is for the director or for you, but I would like to know where we're not filling positions. I mean, it seems like we're not. I'm just curious where we have not filled positions. I guess my concern is that if we have a mission, obviously as an agency, a commission, and I'm just curious where we're not filling positions. Thank you.
We have positions vacant across the agency. We are filling positions currently. Let's see, we have positions in the business unit, we have agent positions, we have positions in HR. We just have 3 new administrative assistants that started this month, and they are all here for their first meeting. So we do have positions across the agency. People are still leaving, and we've had quite a few retirements, and but we are hiring as best we can as well.
I guess my concern would be enforcement. You know, if we have vacancies in enforcement, that compromises our mission, frankly.
Agreed, and we do. Hiring law enforcement staff, certified law enforcement staff, takes a great deal of time and effort to find those people who are qualified and who want to be in those positions. Just like every law enforcement agency in the state, there's a small population of applicants, and we're all competing for the same group. I understand your concern. Your concern is my concern, Senator.
Thank you.
Any other questions from commissioners? All right, we'll move to tab 3, which is the fiscal year 2026 budget update.
Thank you. Just in case, Kriscinda's still the CFO at the Gambling Commission. So this presentation is, we are 3 months into fiscal year 26. So this is our first update of the budget year. So next slide, please. So to begin, I just wanted to give an overview of where we are with the Polaris project. We initially set aside we committed $9.1 million for our IT enhancement project, which is the common name that we use for that is the Polaris project. This project is replacing our legacy systems. At this time, though, the $9.1 million is fully committed. We do anticipate using all of those funds by the time we go live for this project. Next slide, please. So our draft available fund balance, and this is draft because September just closed yesterday, and so reports aren't available until today to finalize numbers. But our draft available balance as we go, our beginning fund balance was just over $19 million, and as I've shared before and has been a topic, there was a $2.2 million transfer from our fund to the general fund at the beginning of this fiscal year. Our year-to-date revenue is just over $4.3 million, and our expenditures for the first 3 months, not including our IT project or our records management system project, are $4.2 million. And then we have, in the past, I've only presented this slide with our year-to-date transactions and then a section called reserved funds. The section in the middle is our obligated funds, and what that means is these are contracts that we've signed, so we're obligated to spend the money. It just takes us time as we're doing these projects. So our obligated funds right now are the IT modernization project, so showing that we have just over $5 million in our fund balance that is remaining for the IT modernization project. The reserved funds, we are required by OFM to have a working reserve. It's commonly known as a working capital reserve. It's an operational reserve so that we have monies if we are short in revenue. We hold 3 months of working reserve because our revenue is cyclic on a quarterly basis, which I'll be able to show you in a future slide in this presentation. And that is about $5.2 million. We also have previously approved in a prior fiscal year $90,000 to replace the access control in our building, and that's our cameras and all of our badge system to get in and out of our Lacey office. And then previously approved was our records management system. We have already implemented Laserfiche, and we are using that in the agency. The remaining part of the project is digitizing existing paper records. So that's, we have 88,000 to complete that part of the project that is set aside, that was previously approved. So accounting for all that, our draft available fund balance as of September 30 is $5.5 million. And again, the numbers that you see here, our IT modernization that you see on this slide only says $6 million because 3.1 was spent in previous biennia. So that was already used. So there's $6 million for starting as of fiscal year 26 of the 9.1 left as available. So just for way of explanation why the previous slide said 9.1 and this says 6 is because of the prior biennium expenditures. So next slide, please. So just an overview of where we are with our revenue and expenditures so far. Our forecasted revenue was $3.7 million. Our draft actual is 4.3. So it's a positive variance of almost $600,000. And just a little bit about where that variance is coming from. When I completed the forecast for this biennium, when we looked at the budget presented in June that was approved, we anticipated a 3% decline in gross gambling receipts based on what had been filed and economic uncertainty. We wanted to make sure that we are accounting for just the uncertainty that we're seeing right now. In reviewing what has been filed thus far and looking back 5 quarters, we see that the gross gambling receipt numbers are not declining. They're flat, and in a few select areas, they are actually increasing just very slightly. So that's where the variance is coming from in our revenue. For allotted expenditures, we anticipated 4.8 million for the first quarter, and our draft actual is 4.2, almost 4.3 million. And this does not include our IT modernization project. So we are underspent in our actuals and expenditures. And again, a large portion of that is coming from our staffing, that we're only at about 100 staff right now, and we have filled several positions and are working on filling a couple more, but a large portion of that variance is because of our staffing vacancies right now. Next slide, please. So with it, oh, my heading shifted, I apologize. That makes it very hard to see. Our draft available fund balance based on those actual numbers as our starting point and then adjusting our revenue forecast. This is a more favorable projected available fund balance than I presented in June because of that difference in the revenue. I realize that this is somewhat challenging to see in a slide, but we will be posting this online after the meeting for general availability. So the red line is our fund balance. So you can see it decrease over time. In this projection, we anticipate our available fund balance being 0 in December of 27, and then dropping below that after that. The blue bars on this chart indicate our revenue, and the gray bars indicate our expenditures. And the line at the very, very bottom represents, if we dip below that blue line at the very bottom, we would truly be negative. Where the blue bars and gray bars meet is 0, because any spending below that is into that working balance that I referred to. So with all this information, oh, next slide, please. Nicole, did you advance it? It didn't move. Oh, there we go. Thank you.
Sorry,
So-
we are having connection issues. So
Okay.
I'm trying.
We can see it now. Thank you. So with this information, when we presented to you in June, we presented the budget and what was approved. We did talk about coming back in October or November and presenting another request. And so based on what we're seeing with our revenue and our expenditures and our available fund balance, we are requesting the commissioners to consider approving up to $2 million for a statement of work-based post-go live enhancement contract. And so if that is approved, this chart is indicating what that would do to our available fund balance. So instead of being at 0 in December of 27, we would approach 0 in March of 27. The slight uptick in the quarter that ends in June of 27 is because when we realigned the organizational expiration dates for gambling licenses, that had the effect of having all organizations pay their renewal base fee by June 30. So we see a slight uptick in our revenue and then the decline. And you can see that pattern repeat in this red line. So that's my presentation and questions from commissioners.
All right, any commissioners have any questions? No? Thank you.
I will just reiterate that staff is asking that commissioners approve up to $2 million for post Polaris enhancements. And I can go into just a little bit. We don't know what exactly that would look like until we get closer to, if we were able to get closer to what that statement, to developing those statements of work. But I can tell you what areas that, we do know what areas are outside of Polaris for go live right now. And some of those things, certainly we would want to make sure that we would explore enhancements for staff efficiency, as well as improvements for tribal partners, licensees, and applicants to enhance efficient, effective communication and make sure that how they're used to doing business is still maintained, if not improved. But that would most likely, some of the areas that could expand on that we know are outside of scope are invoice generation, because we do have a lot of billing that occurs. Timesheets are very important to us. And so there's some capabilities with timesheets that are going to be limited. And again, I'm not committing to exactly what we're looking at, but obviously timekeeping is very important for us as an agency, because the timekeeping is the structure of which we determine what our license fees need to be based on the amount of work that is required, as well as then cost reimbursement for the other services that we do that are authorized under RCW and Tribal State Compact. So invoice generation, QLR amendments, making sure that's easy, submitting information through the portal, through my account. We really want to try to make things as easy as possible for people to submit electronically now. And so not all the submission capabilities are available. So those are just a few areas that are going to be outside of scope, where some things will be in scope, but maybe there's a little bit more that we can do to make it more efficient and effective for staff as well as customers. Thank you.
Thank you. Senator Conway?
Yeah, I have a more general question here, because I know the legislature still has a deficit. And I'm a little confused by all your figures here a little bit, because it seems like your initial figures showed that we were generating above our projected costs. And I'm worried here that, we know what happened during the last budget session. And I'm just worried that we are not setting ourselves up for any more use of gambling funds or a sweep of gambling funds. And I assume that that's financially, you probably have the best bill for that as the financial officer. So I understand we would like to perfect our system of our digital system here at Polaris here, but I'm just worried here about what might happen. I assume you're in contact with OFM. That's a tough question to ask, I know, but I'm just hoping that the commissioners and everyone's aware that we were swept a little bit last session or for the general fund budget, and I just wondering whether we're free from that sweep in the next, as we do a supplement budget.
Yeah, we are very much aware that a sweep certainly could be coming. And I'm just asking for a little clarity in terms of your question. Are you suggesting, Senator, that we save as much money in preparation for a sweep?
No, I just think that, I'm just wondering what your thinking is on this, because, it was a problem last session, as we know, and we do have another budget deficit facing us.
Mhm.
And I'm just curious what your thinking is, that we're going to be, I know it's hard to predict here what might happen, but I assume you're having conversations with OFM.
Most definitely. And our thinking is, Senator, that these are license fees and cost reimbursements from tribes for our co-regulatory efforts, and that these funds that have been paid to the Gambling Commission would best be suited to serve those licensees, applicants, and tribal partners by enhancing the system rather than having them swept into the general fund.
Right. I just alert you that, I think that everyone here should realize that the legislature is not out of the woods yet. And I just urge everyone to be aware of that, because, it just seems to me that you pointed out in your opening remarks that there's almost another $1 billion deficit. Now, what that means, that's a 4-year deficit, I think you said. And I just worry about any kind of, the other thing that has happened, as you know, in terms of legislature's search for revenue here, is that they've automatically increased some license fees. So just alert you to the problem we have and the need to be aware that as we consider our expenditures here, that there's not necessarily there's a big problem with the state budget. Thank you.
Right, thank you, Senator. Okay, any other questions from commissioners or? Right, do we have a motion?
Chair, I move we approve additional expenditure for go live enhancements to the IT system in FY26.
Can we amend that to up to $2 million for go live enhancements?
Yes, let's amend it to up to $2 million for post go live enhancements.
Thank you. It's been moved. Second.
Seconded.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. All right, motion passes. Thank you, Kriscinda.